Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are with Slayer's Testament, and the title card is very generic because there is no actual title art of this particular mod yet, because I don't think it's actually been officially released. Now, I am joined by...
Riddick.
Yeah, so we're going to be playing through this Quake 1 mod that is quite impressive, that basically replicates Doom 2016 with the Quake engine. I gotta say, it is quite impressive for what it is. And I happen to like the movement system in Quake 1 a lot more than Doom 2016's. And it's kind of interesting just how well the Quake engine has actually aged over time.
You mean source ports?
This is the Quake Spasm source port. Never actually heard of it until I went to try to get this mod to work. And you even have the classic, well, the now classic Glory Kill system. And although I gotta say I like the Glory Kill system in this a lot more. It's a lot faster. You just hit shift, and it just completely eradicates everything. I mean, for a game engine from '96, this works surprisingly well. And it's even
the code's still being used to this day in quite a bit of Activision titles.
That's just insane. Although here's a thought. Well, it's already been a decade, which is insane, but here's a thought. 20 years from now, will people care about Modern Warfare 4? Or Modern Warfare 1?
Probably not, but that being said, a lot of John Carmack's code is being used not just in that, but in a lot of first-person shooters. Up until the faux raycasting that NVIDIA's been putting out, and the solution that AMD is working on, how lighting is handled in games is essentially based off his code.
That is utterly loony. I mean, when it comes to technology, you would think it would be something new by this point. Now, what's kind of interesting is today I watched a video on Y2K compliance.
The Y2K bug.
That is just so fun. I mean, if that is something that has aged poorly. It's like, will the world end on Y2K? Now, my grandfather actually made a crap ton of money upgrading. Now, this, of course, is very 90s. He got a crap ton of money upgrading the. No, I don't want to turn on sticky keys.
Windows strikes again.
I just updated my reinstalled Windows. Updated my Windows. What is it? Windows 11 now? I reinstalled Windows on a new SSD, so I forgot to turn that off, and I died. I'm gonna blame sticky keys for that. It's like sticky keys has been around for what, 20 years by this point, or more?
Close to. It's been around since Windows ME.
Oh, that's an anachronism if ever there was one. And hello, Emperor Snoke or Snake? I can't read that because it's too small. Alright, thank God it's not Snoke.
No one likes Snoke.
Why they immediately decanonized him in the next movie? Oh, they didn't decanonize him, but it's like, now he's just a clone for some reason. Because, why not?
Because Palpatine had a massive craving for bacon.
Shit. But yeah, Y2K compliance. That is just utterly insane to think of today. It's like, now, I don't know how much of that was actually true or not. Like, if there actually was a danger, or if the people working on it actually did something. It's one of those things where
anything written in COBOL with 6-to-date codes would essentially have a severe problem. Like, it's defense system-wise, there was never a genuine problem because by '96, most of our... This is going to sound disturbing, depressing, and just plain wrong, but a lot of our defense systems were running modified COBOL. They were still using, 8.25-inch floppies and 5.25 floppies on, 30-year-old systems at Groom Lake and other facilities.
The highest of the technology.
Oh yeah, it was hard drives as big as your car, and about as small storage medium as the CF flash card of the age.
Now, what's kind of funny is, like, you watch shows like Stargate SG-1. They've got like a portal that can go to other galaxies and through time, and yet they're still rocking the NEC monitors.
Oh, NEC still made good monitors at the time.
But it's just kind of incongruous. You got this high-level technology, CRTs.
Well, I can understand. Here's the thing. If it wasn't really for the industry changing, CRT would still be viable because we'll say NASA, for example, or a submarine, where there's a situation of massive pressure change or potential abuse, CRT is more durable.
That is true. But it's still just kind of funny, though.
Yeah, it is very funny. I mean, looking at it now, the future vision of, let's say, Alien, looking back at the ship, looking back at the mother rooms, like, we laugh now, but realistically, they're space truckers. They're really going to go for the most durable thing possible.
Which works. Oh, you're not going to be able to watch. Damn. Oh, well. U.S. military still uses XP? That's just sad.
Some parts of the military do, but those are air-gapped systems. They're not hooked to any network that is accessible from the outside. Intranet only.
XP.
How are CRTs more durable? Essentially, you've got a thicker plane of glass, which can withstand flexing a lot more. It can withstand electrostatic discharge a hell of a lot more. It's generally hardened electronically as compared to plasma and LCD displays, and even OLED displays.
Why's that working? Okay, there we go. I gotta shoot them. No rockets, any micro missiles. It's like, who needs modern day graphics when you have something like this? This is a perfect recreation of Doom 2016.
Oh, play this on a CRT. It is gorgeous.
I'm actually playing this in 2K right now, downscaling to 720 for the stream. Looks good even in that.
It looks good in that, but like I say, if you come across good, cheap, used computer monitor CRT, downscale it further and run it through that. Seeing, 60 hertz plus on that, the movement is so much smoother. It is honestly amazing.
Yeah, I never should have got rid of my old Dell monitor. It still worked, but it's like, CRT, who wants that?
Well, you can find them, thankfully, at garage sales and things like that, or Goodwills. Goodwills actually become a decent source again of old school CRT computer monitors.
Huh. I will need to look into that at some point when I have more room. Because I'd like to play some of the retro games on an actual CRT and not on a computer monitor. Because I have finally noticed there is latency. I never noticed it before, but there actually is a degree of input lag. Not much, but it's there. Alright, now I already played through the tutorial.
Jason, essentially sales pitch. It was new, it was sexy, fixed pixel displays were really great for showing pictures of movies. And for somebody interested in watching movies, it actually is a good technology. But for anything that requires, time sensitivity, i.e. zero lag, or,
Well,
requires a degree of fidelity at speed, the CRT is undeniably the tech.
the one problem with Quake movement. What's it? G, B? There we go. B.
As for 720p 69 CRTs, technically yes. Gateway made a few monitors, ViewSonic made a few, and
Damn it! No! Multiplayer.
You can find some Sony monitors known as BBMs, but I wouldn't recommend those because those are, even though I do collect them, I do work on them, they're expensive. They are ridiculously expensive. Like, right next to me I've got a 20-inch Sony, a 20MU MDU medical monitor that I saved from the hospital's endoscopy department that I use for retro gaming, and had I not got it from the endoscopy department, that would have cost me about $500.
This makes me wonder, like, how much did those big screen TVs back in the 90s cost?
The projection ones?
Yeah.
Projection TVs in the cusp of like projection CRTs were usually right around the $1,500 mark.
Yeah, that's why we never had one. But I did see many of them. I actually got to play a Super Nintendo on one of those once. It was like the greatest experience of all time.
Hey, Jack. Yeah, they were pretty good for what they were, and because they were projection CRT, there was no real latency. The problem was tuning, because they'll fall out of
Crap.
essentially the capacitors will eventually, die off due to age. So you have to replace those. You have to tune the linearity as well as the picture. Like BVMs and PVMs. This monitor that say would have cost me $500 used. If I'd bought it new, it would have been $5,000. Like a BVM, like if you're looking for like a 720p BVM CRT from Sony, new that was around $25,000.
Holy shit. That is insane.
I still don't recommend them because unless you know what you're doing, because it's not like owning commercial TV. It's essentially you don't have a remote, you don't have a tuner, you have to do all that manually.
How do you even do that?
Essentially, you've got knobs on for brightness adjustment, vertical hold, horizontal hold, linearity, shifter, degauss, and you basically have to dial it in manually. It's worth it, but and you don't have to do it that often. But if they somehow could knock the price down and try to sell it to the commercial market, it would have never taken off.
Okay, that'd be like... Now that makes me think of like the most expensive gaming setup in the 90s. One of those, plus a Neo Geo AES with Metal Slug 1.
It wasn't that expensive back then. Like, $1,500 just for inflation, Jason, is... let's say $1,500 in 1996 to now. That's $2,800 for current money. Now, if you're talking expensive gaming rigs, Neo Geo, by the time of Metal Slug, would have run you $350 for the system, without anything, just the system itself. And when Metal Slug 1 released, the cartridge was $300.
That is just insane.
Actually, Jason, we almost had flat screen CRTs. And I say flat, it would still be about 4 inches thick, but we almost had genuine, large scale flat CRTs. The only flat CRT we really saw were the early 90s, the flat, like Sony Viewman TVs, the portables. As for LCDs evolving, yes and no. The refresh rate can really get up there, but we need something that doesn't have fixed pixels if you want to match LCD.
It shall be interesting. And read the old EU. Well, that is always good. I'd recommend buying the non-Legends books, because damn.
Yeah. Definitely look up the old books, cherish them, because they're good. Compared to what we got now, oh yeah, that's the good stuff.
I started looking at what they've done to the canon. Oh my god. You thought Ultimate Marvel was bad? Damn. Because, like, there's no consequences, it seems, in the canon universe. It's like Darth Vader's way overpowered, despite basically being evil RoboCop. And it's already been established that the more meat you have, the more force potential you have, and, well, yeah. They really made... There's this fixation with Darth Vader, and I don't know why. It's like, he was never that...
We can't write anybody, so let's go with Vader because, that's all we got. We don't know how to be original. And shoot, Tech.
Oh, crap. I'm being attacked by an imp. think they sampled the pain sounds of the zombified sergeant from a Doom guy. At least that's what it sounds like to me. And while this is in 3D, I recognize a lot of Doom textures in this. A lot of 2D.
Oh yeah, in fact, the entire, most of all of E1 M1, and actually a good chunk of Doom is actually in this version.
I'm not going to complain about that.
And Tech, they were freeware and technically still are, but EA is hiding the links as best as possible because they're trying to bank on, you know, the sales of the old game. Because let's face it, Command & Conquer, you know, mobile, it's awful.
It's a mobile game. To get like 1 bit of Tiberium, it's probably like $5 real.
Oh no, they turned it into a gacha game. It's bad. And technically, yes, they are still considered freeware, but you're just not gonna. EA is gonna hide those sources as best as possible.
Yeah, it's the Doom 3 pain sound off of that guy. That much of a nerd. Now, if you want to play a Command & Conquer life game, there is OpenRA, which has Red Alert. It's got Command & Conquer, and it also has Dune 2000, if I'm not mistaken. Oh crap! Please tell me I have
Still
something.
no advanced source support for the last Doom game. I can't think today. Kind of fried.
Yeah, I hear that. Because getting up at 5:30 in the morning is, or not, I always say 5:30. I'm usually at work by 5:30, so I'd get up substantially earlier than that. It's like, I'm just glad I'm not in any higher of a position where you had to get there even earlier. I mean, there's one thing to be said about ambition, but getting there any earlier just sounds horrible.
Well, any earlier than that, you're pretty much going to be a temporary resident of Waffle House, because that's about all you're going to get for food at that time.
Yeah, pretty much. Because, damn, there's like there's nothing open whenever I get up anyway. What's really funny is like Chick-fil-A basically says like, yeah, we open now at 5:30. It's like, great, I'm already at work for half an hour by that point. Energy Empire loved it. Dark Force Rising. Yeah, although Dark Force Rising was kind of just kind of slumped a little bit. The game's still legally considered for you. This way to install UT99. I've not played UT99 in a long time.
Oh, that's just it. The UMod installer is kind of broke when we switched OSs. I hate to say it, but you're gonna have to go with the forums of that, because I haven't. You know, I've been playing UT99 vanilla since really Windows 7 came out, 2012.
God, that's like such a long time ago. It doesn't feel like it's that long ago.
It was a relationship ago for me, so yeah, that was me in another nation.
Man. See, that makes me think of like some of the Star Wars books from that time. It's like how good we had it. We did not know how good we had it back then. It's like,
oh, yeah.
I remember there was a lot of complaints about one of the latest Zon books. I forget what it's called. I think it's like Shadow Play or Shadow Games or something like that. And I remember there being some complaints about it. I don't remember what they were, but I remember people complained about it. I didn't get it because I was still pissed off that Travis killed Mara, but that's another story for another day. But in all reality, was Shadow Games really that bad? And would it be that bad compared to, you know, what we have today?
Compared to what we have today, no. Ew. That'd be like complaining about, say, how Wheel of Time ended, as opposed to what our current, you know, state of affairs is, which is more Game of Thrones. We're on the Game of Thrones scale, not the Wheel of Time scale.
And hello, Idris B. Wheel of Time. That was a series I have read part of the first book, but could not get past that. I didn't really like the characters. Just thought it was kind of boring, really. Really, when it comes to classic fantasy like that, I am so dead. I'm just going to go ahead and hit F9. When it comes to classic fantasy like that, I'm a big fan of the Magician books. Well, no, the Magician book singular. That's an example of a book that is basically a trilogy in one. And you can kind of tell that the writer didn't know what he wanted to do after he ended it, because the next book was really generic. Like, massively generic. And I didn't even bother with the third one. Oh, I didn't even finish the second one.
And tech, CNC net's alright, it does work, but really about the only way you're getting a multiplayer game these days in classic CNC title is going to be with Game Ranger and other such exploits where it spoofs the multiplayer connection. That or LAN.
Yeah, COT monitors, live chat. And I've seen Cowboy Bebop multiple times. It's quite good. Kathleen Kid, yeah. You know, I never played Kingpin Life of Crime.
Hard. Hard game.
Because I never really cared about gangsters and stuff like that. I know that's
no, this is not like, you know, thug gangsters of the day. This is more like, it was more mafia style gangster meets, you know, some weird pseudo, you know, rundown wannabe Art Deco future that never happened.
Oh wait, is that the one where like it looks like the 30s but they play rap music?
Yeah.
Okay. Which, that's kind of weird, but whatever. I mean, who knows?
Wasn't a great game, but compared to, like, say, Redneck Rampage, it was alright.
Still have not even considered playing that yet. Like, nearing $20.99. I don't even know what Disney's going to become at some point.
Right now, no, Disney is not going to go down. Their last shareholder meeting, there's an open revolt amongst the trust fund shareholders against Bob Iger, but they're still in the black. Their liquidity is down massively, but they're still in the black.
If they went too woke, and not even China's going to help them not go broke.
Oh no, China does not want anything of theirs right now.
Really, if they'd have made
with sales, but even I can't sell that.
If they'd made the sequel trilogy like they did Last Skywalker, I think that would have been somewhat successful, or more successful than it was.
Oh, that's just it. Kathleen Kennedy really shot all of it in the foot. I mean, the Duel of Fates script leaked, and I've been reading over it here and there, and it's actually kind of stupid, but a hell of a lot better than what we got.
Oh? Do I even want to know?
Essentially, Rose Tico is no longer a, throwaway character. She's actually kind of badass. And there's a lot more humor to it.
That sounds...
Palpatine does not show up except as a hologram.
Oh, well, that is a ripoff, though. It's a ripoff of one of the Young Jedi Knight books, actually.
Sorta, but it's just right. Different enough that you can say that okay, this isn't complete plagiarism.
It's not complete, but it sounds like it's kind of close. I didn't mind Palps coming back just because there was that epic Force Lightning scene. I liked that scene.
Well, yeah, it looked great, but honestly, looking great is only part of the battle. The other half is violence.
So, let's see, first expansion, Tommy Wiseau directed it. I don't know, it might have been more weird, but... Although, you know what comes to mind when I think of Tommy Wiseau directing a Star Wars film? It makes me think of that weird German show from like the early 2000s called Lex, I think. Where it was really strange. I don't really know how to describe that show. I watched like a couple episodes.
Very German.
Yeah, and it's like there was a guy who was undead but kind of alive. There was the hot chick. There was a guy that looked kind of like Jerry Reed. And for those who don't know who Jerry Reed is, he's he's dead now, but he is an actor / musician. I swear he looked like Jerry Reed in like a red hat.
A little bit, yeah. And let's see. The expansions are not freeware tech. Those are still under commercial license. They're not hard to get, and either legally or torrented, and no one's really going to care because nobody's making money off of them. It's like saying abandonware. There's no such thing as abandonware. It exists, but legally it just does not exist.
It's close enough to existence.
It is, but if it were to hold up in a court of law, there's no way in hell that would be upheld.
That's copyright law for you. And Jedi Knight 2 is excellent, but I still kind of like Jedi Knight 1 a little bit more. Now that I actually replayed it with modern-ish graphics. Really, he killed me by landing on me.
He DFA'd you.
Although, how much does a Hell Knight weigh anyway?
I'm guessing not light. He looks to be, if his muscle mass is anything like a human's, he's got to weigh about 350.
Yeah, I don't know if that actually kills him. Well, it depends on how he landed, but...
350 to your head and neck, oh yeah, you're done.
That's why I never want to play football. Oh.
There's a reason we have all the pads. It ain't because, you know, let the Australians say, oh, it's sissy rugby. No, it's because those hits are a lot harder than the rugby players put on.
Oh yeah, I don't have that little thing to jump up there yet. I never actually had any desire to play football. It just never really appealed. God damn it. Let me see here. Blackhead. I've not seen Taxi Driver.
Oh, you need to go see it. That's actually a classic.
And I highly doubt that we'll ever see a real Duke Nukem game within the next decade, at least, until it...
Unless a certain... I'm going to censor myself here. Just think of the worst obscenities you can possibly think, and that's what I think of the head of Gearbox. Until he loses the license to it, or sells it, which is most likely because he's not making a lot of money, we won't see a new Duke Nukem game.
Damn it. Yeah, pretty much. But here's my question, though. Was Duke Nukem ever really that good, though?
The games were alright. The character, as much as I like it, is not a character. He's a jingoistic, I say jingoistic, partially jingoistic amalgam of pop culture.
See, like, for me, when it comes to the build engine games, having replayed Duke Nukem somewhat recently, I tend to do a stream of a Duke Nukem mod called Duke Forces that combines Dark Forces with Duke Nukem, which is actually pretty good. But comparing Duke Nukem to Blood is way better in, like, every way. I mean, Caleb's a lot cooler, the weapons are way better, and, yeah, I mean, I just think that... I think Duke is way too popular for what he is, and Blood is not popular enough. It just is not.
I will agree to that, but there's a reason why Blood is not more popular. It's because, number one, it's unforgiving. Number two, it came out in a bad time.
That was like 98? I think I said it in the video, but I don't remember.
Yeah, it was around 98. I mean, you had Quake 2 was out.
Because I like Quake 2 a little bit more just because I happen to like the Robo aesthetic more, but yeah, I guess I could see that because it's like, it's the old school graphics. The old school. How little they knew. And a little rusted. And let's see, GTA. I've never actually played the original GTAs, nor... I've played part of GTA, the one with Ray Liotta, whichever one that is, the 80s one.
Yeah, it's Vice City.
And I played a lot of GTA 5, but that's about it. It's never appealed. I don't like playing as a bad guy. God damn it. Everyone's a big fan of playing as a bad guy.
All of them.
I think like GTA 1, wasn't that like for DOS? Or was that early Windows?
It was DOS. There was a Windows port later. Originally it was DOS and PS1.
PS1? But they had to downgrade the graphics on that one.
Well, no, it was top down.
Oh yeah, that's right! Wow, it's like I haven't thought about those early GTAs in a long time because I've seen videos on them. Oh, and I also played a little bit of GTA Chinatown Wars with DS. And that's about it. I just never really cared for it. Now, I played a GTA-like game called True Crime Streets of LA, and I quite liked that one because it reminded me of a bunch of those 80s cop shows.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good, and eventually it became Sleeping Dogs.
See, I only played the first game. I do own Sleeping Dogs, but I never actually...
Give it a play. It's actually really good.
I will have to take a look at it at some point. There's so many games, so little time. That plus working all the time. I'm still trying to finish Dark Souls 3. That reminds me! Dark Souls 3 is way more difficult than I remember. There's just something about some of those bosses. They are fucking cheap. And they can kill you while you're laying down. It's like, come on, From Software, show a little mercy. Not much, but a little.
That's something they've shown very little of in their time.
Just a little. I still want to eventually play Bloodborne. Ooh, I got the jump boots now.
Oh, and Nick, go look for the PC versions of Rainbow Six 3. The GameCube version's alright, but it is nothing compared to the PC version.
Yeah,
PC
Rainbow
version plus its add-on, highly worth it.
Just like Republic Commando, but without the blasters.
No, it's... Republic Commando is a great game, but it's a very forgiving game. SWAT is essentially... Imagine you can die in 3 to 1 hits if you're lucky, and you really have to mind your corners and watch your strategy.
So like Republic Commando, the book series, just without the hot, sexy Jedi.
Somewhat, yeah.
Actually, I wouldn't really say that the Jedi character, Etain, was particularly attractive, though. She's always described as really scrawny in the books. And see, that's one of the reasons why I think people both love and hate Karen Travis. Her Republic Commando stuff is great. However, her Legacy of the Force stuff is horribly depressing. I don't know how much of that's her and how much of that was Lucas at the time. See, Lucas did bad stuff even back in the old EU. Legacy of the Force, I think, was the absolute worst book series they came out with because it basically invalidated like 20 years of canon by that point. It's like, oh yeah, nobody actually gets to be happy. All these characters who were good, bad now. And like, I finished Betrayal strictly because I wanted to read about Boba Fett. That was cool. But it's like Jason Solo going evil and torturing people. Did anyone really want to read that? I know I didn't.
Yeah, that was a bit of a strange departure. And tech, sometimes it does. The thing is, before you ever consider either any type of NFA anything, you want to make sure you have a good gun safe, your house is secure, and just in case, that may not happen, but essentially you do give the NFA a right to come and knock.
And that's why I never wanted to do anything NFA related. When I heard about that, it's like, nope, even if I had the $20,000 for a good machine gun, ain't gonna do it.
Well, it rarely ever happens. It's essentially if they do come a knocking, it's to make sure, yeah, you have the item in possession, yes, it's secure, yes, it's safe, yes, it's under your control, and they leave.
Yeah, still, I don't like it. I don't like the government coming and searching in my house.
Well, like I say, very, very unlikely. And I know people who've never gotten anything so much as a peep. And I don't mean just a few people, I mean a lot of people who've never gotten so much as a peep.
I think if I was going to get an NFA item, I know it would be a submachine gun, not like a full-on machine gun. For me, it's tied between a Beretta 38 and a PPSH 41.
Very simple systems, very reliable, very durable.
I think I'd probably have to say Beretta 38 more than PPSH because 9mm is way cheaper than 7.62 Togue.
Oh, that is a slightly more comfortable platform.
Oh, crap.
You actually have a place for your forward hand.
Other than the drum.
Yeah.
I don't think the Beretta 38's that expensive. I think they're like, what, 20,000? Something like that?
I'd have to check. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Like, it's only 20,000. I could buy, like, 20 of my cars for that price. That's when you know you become a real gun owner, when your guns cost more than your car. Or all the crap you put on the gun and the gun itself costs more than the car did.
Okay, I'm in that case without NFA paperwork.
Well, if I was ever going to get that PTR 91, it would come close. It would come very, very close.
Though right now my car is DOA, so I'm working on that.
You can always steal a horse. Go back to horse-drawn carriage. All you'd have to do is just feed it a bucket of oats. It's way cheaper than gas.
Sad part is I wouldn't have to steal it. Bad part is I would have to do a lot of favors because I know a horse trainer.
Oh, well. Hey, you can just ride it. Although where you'd park a horse, I'm not entirely sure.
There actually are specific parts for that in certain parts of downtown.
Really? Why am I not surprised? And yes, that Mark IV is pretty awesome. And hello, Eddie Blake.
We have a lot of horse trainers here.
My dream car. See, I don't have a cool dream car. I have the most obvious dream car that ever was. DeLorean. In fact, it's not a ripoff of the Back to the Future car, though. My dream DeLorean is one painted black with a bat symbol on the roof and some custom wheels. I would never be able to drive this thing because I'd be too afraid of it getting a wreck or just scraping it against a curb. But with custom wheels with a bat symbol on the wheels. That, the DeLorean mobile, the Bat DeLorean, there we go. That's what I want as my dream car. If I was going to spend a ridiculous amount of money on a car, that's it.
And tech, an M16 barrel on M4 internals, it doesn't matter. Essentially, it only matters if the projectile is matched to that barrel. Like, if you're using an old school M16, that's a 1 in 14 or 1 in 12 twist barrel, which means you need either 45 to 52 grain loads. Although with the M16A4, you can just swap the upper if you want on any rifle. And that's a 1 in 7 twist, so fill your boots, anything from 55 all the way up to 77 grain.
I don't really get the reason why anybody would want to go to anything other than 1 in 7. Unless, like, you wanted to shoot heavier grain loads, but still.
No, depends. Like, if you're making a varmint, a particular, can't talk. A varmint-based M4 or M4G or, you know, pseudo M16, just for taking out groundhogs, yeah, go ahead and roll that 1 in 12 barrel and go with Barnes varmint grenades. Those seem to work great. 35 grain projectile, solid copper, flies pretty true. I mean, for bigger varmint, yeah, I would say go ahead and step up to 62 grain projectile, preferably Sierra Match King, but that's just me.
But other than something like that, you wouldn't really need. Really, anything that can just shoot 55 grain, I think is pretty much all you would really need. Because when it comes to ammo that people actually buy, it's just generally going to be 55 grain.
So like, 1 in 9, 1 in 8, and 1 in 7 will do that just fine.
God damn it. That guy, the shield bastard, is even worse in this game.
The Cybertruck actually looks interesting, but I can't use it for my area. If I could, you know, if I had the money for it, I would love it. But the problem is, right now, there's just not enough Tesla charging stations. Most of the charging stations around here are KOA campgrounds, and you need an adapter for that.
Yeah, I wonder when electric will actually be more worthwhile than it already is.
The Tesla Model 3 is very much worth it. Michelle loves hers, and she's she's on the outskirts of Denver right now, so she has house charging, and when she's in Denver, she has localized charging.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing more Teslas these days, even just around Houston. And it seems like almost all Teslas, not all of them, but almost all have a vanity plate that is usually something like no gas, no oil. It's like, come on, we get it, you got an electric car.
The only thing that's on Michelle's is standard license plate and a certain electric type Pokemon sticker on our bumper.
Yep. It's like the electricity, man. It's the future. There's a lot of things that were like supposed to be in the future that just never really came to be, like the video phones. I always find that funny.
For it. We have that now on every computer.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like
Skype.
I guess I should say like the common usage of a video phone, like out in public.
We sort of have that with the iPhone and the Android phones. Not super common.
But just people generally don't do that, though.
Well,
that's
yeah,
the thing. Is like, who wants
it
to...
was damned. It was a concept that was damned because sending video through Cat 4 and Cat 5, well, Cat 4 really, so it's standardized phone line, is an absolute pain in the butt. There's just not enough bandwidth.
I always find it funny that like sometimes when I make a call from the phone, the quality is shit. But if I make a call from Skype or Discord, it's way better. It's like... But then again...
Tech, there's a specific, what we call a mil spec, and that's what you're shooting for when you're buying an AR. You don't go with the bargain basement. Oh, I got mine for $500 or less AR, because you're generally not going to meet the specification, and that's more parts you're going to have to change to get to the specification.
Oh, that does remind me of something, though. I did read that some of those super cheap ARs have very short firing pins. Or not very short, but shorter than something more expensive. Meaning you'll probably have to replace that if you want to shoot steel.
Well, no, it's not just because you want to shoot steel. It's just the fact that there's not enough mass there. They go with the El Cheapo. Oh, well, we got 1 million of these match firing pins, and what are we gonna do with them? Oh, we get them cheap. Put them in AR. Of course, that being said, I used to work for a company that made titanium firing pins made with extra mass.
And I do not know if an EMP would take out an electric car.
Yes, actually. It's not a hardened circuit. A lightning storm with the world's worst luck, I mean, lotto luck, would take out an electric car. Though, the thing is, with most electric cars, the systems are modular, so the fried parts could be replaced. And yes, tech, anything from Aero Precision is top-notch. They're like BCM. They make really good kit. Brownells right now is kicking all sorts of butt as well.
Not that anyone cares, but 6 hours good too.
6 hours freaking awesome.
Oh crap, I'm gonna die.
My only problem was I wish they made more.
Although
they consolidated their line.
I gotta admit though, like, that was a lucky find, to say the least. Always look for used if you can help it. If you can get a good used something, probably for the same price you can get a kind of crappy new thing.
Could you take out an EMP, take out an electronic car permanently? Yes and no. It could fry the circuitry, but you can't take it out permanently because the circuitry is modular. The batteries would be fine. The drivetrain would be unaffected. The circuitry would be toast, but like I say, circuitry can be replaced.
Oh, I always know that this level. I never can figure out where I'm supposed to go. And I've never even seen a FAMAS in real life, so no.
I've seen and fired one, and right now my brother is in the possession of it.
So, yeah, I mean, only what, like 200 came into the country in the 80s?
600.
Oh, it's more than I thought it would be. I'd love to
Dad
know
bought
how much.
one, and it was about $800 at the time.
Damn. I'd love to know how much Ian from Forgotten Weapons paid for his.
Probably about $300 to $3,500.
Yeah, that's a lot cheaper than I thought it would be. I thought he paid like over like 10 grand for that.
Well, he got his quite a few years back.
Now, see, that's something I wonder if Brownells will consider remaking if there's a decent enough.
I'd love to see it happen, but I don't see it happening because you need to get. You can't just get the blueprints and say, "Oh, we can make them now." that requires a TDP. You need to know materials used, specific Rockwell hardnesses, temper points. If it were that easy to just take a blueprint and make a gun, then technically I could make a Dragunov legally here in the US. And I would basically, I've got everything but the TDP on materials hardness and the exact materials used. Were that easy, yeah, I'd be looking for an angel investor like yesterday.
I wonder, like, with machine learning, could such a thing actually come to pass?
It could come to pass now, but it just wouldn't be cheap.
Where the hell is that blue key card? Let's see. Solar flare hit 1912. I thought that was in the 1800s.
We just escaped one a couple of years back, which could have fried a lot of our stuff.
Yeah, now that is definitely a doomsday scenario. I actually read a novel based on that. I think
2012, and again in 2014.
So that was definitely a bad year.
2014 could have been really bad.
Yeah, I'll say. But I think that book, I think it was Supernova. It was one of those random sci-fi books that wasn't part of a series or anything. I think it took place like in the space year 2009, when this manned mission to Alpha Centauri was taking place, because of course that happened back then. And like on the way back, they get hit. No, I don't think they get hit by the solar flare, but they find it, and then somehow make it back to Earth. I forget how that whole book ended. It was also one of those overly technologically advanced futures where criminals were held in cryonic suspension. It's like, yeah, that didn't happen.
If we could ever figure out cryonics to a science, then we've got a lot of things ahead of us. That means we can set up generation ships.
Which would be kind of an interesting thing to be a part of. I don't know if I'd want to do it, but it would be good to have, like... Oh, crap, I'm gonna die. Yep. But it would be nice to have some population of the Earth off-planet, just in case something ever happened.
And yeah, supernova is an exploding star. It's the star going critical. And tech, yes, the current Steyr AUGs are really, really good, especially the A3 USA.
I just never really saw a need for a bullpup. I mean, they look cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, unless you're getting in and out of armored vehicles, it's just that it seems like it doesn't really serve much for practical purpose.
In and out of armored vehicles and CQB, that's where they really shine.
I mean, with CQB, you could just have a 14-inch AR with a pinned-on muzzle brake, and then you'd have something that's a lot cheaper, and there'd be more parts commonality.
But these days, honestly, for CQB, the best and cheapest option, you know, everybody's gonna think, oh, you're strange for saying this. Keltec RDB, that thing shoots wonderful. $800 for that? Oh yeah.
You know, I've seen that. I just never really gave it much thought. Now, one thing that is kind of interesting that they came out with this year, well, Ruger came out this year, was the Ruger 5.7 that has kind of taken the shooting world by storm. It's the FN 5.7, man. That's something that I'll admit I considered in a moment of weakness. I considered it. There's no practical reason to get a 5.7mm pistol because, well,
I can give you a practical reason. And you're never going to guess it. It's those with arthritis or weaker hands.
You know, I wouldn't have guessed that.
It gives them a practical self-defense option because you load that up with, you know, the extreme ammo penetrator round, or you load it up with, say, a Barnes, you know, soft point. It's practical. It allows a person with weak hands or damaged hands to defend themselves rather easily, and with Ruger putting out the Ruger 57, that's awesome.
But then couldn't you use one of those Smith & Wesson EZs?
You could, but the spring pressure is more on the EZ than it is on the 5.7, so charging the weapon becomes harder for a person with arthritis.
Okay.
Tech, bullpups are standard non-NFA. I've got right next to me a Keltec RFB in 308, and I've been goofing around with that. It's been pretty good.
Oh, I'm all the way back here. Ah, well. And let's see. I might do an OpenGL on the boys, but I'd have to actually watch, either read the comic again or watch the TV show, neither of which really appeal. Because, yeah, it's that Irish comic that just, it's dark for the sake of dark, and I did an OpenGL on that years ago. But I find dark for the sake of dark really annoying. It's like really, 12-year-old emo kid kind of thing. One of my biggest problems with a lot of those Garth Ennis things is they really are just dark for the sake of dark and are quite unpleasant.
Yeah, Garth uses comics as an outlet, although somebody needs to just take that guy to Bourbon Street and just let him go wild. Just get all the anger out of him by just having a good night. Or a good week, if it takes that much.
Yeah. Because, damn. Like, if he wrote what I think he wrote, his Punisher stuff was actually pretty good, but everything else was just not that great.
His Punisher works pretty solid, and we'll never see it again because of Disney.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Disney owns that. I forgot all about that. That's kind of funny, really. It's like, Disney owns the Punisher. So technically...
Disney just essentially killed Fox Studios today.
Well, I did not know that. I don't know if I needed to know that. It's like, really, Disney?
The entire Fox Studios brand is now gone, as is Spotlight Pictures.
Well, there goes Alien vs. Predator. Although it might not be that bad if that's the case, because, well, do we really want a Disney princess alien queen?
Xenomorph Queen is the best Disney princess.
And, no, there are no koalas burning in Texas. I don't think there's even any outside of a zoo. And, let's see. Oh, yeah, speaking of Disney, I finally sat through Aladdin, the live-action film. Yeah, it was something, alright. It was something. I had to see it. Old Aladdin was, like, one of my childhood favorites, and, here's the thing. Will Smith can't sing. I'm just going to come out and say it. He cannot sing to save his life.
Well, that he's trying to fill the boots for Robin Williams. No one can do that.
No.
Robin was just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you listen to... There's actually a mix on YouTube of them mixing both Will Smith and Robin Williams, and, like, he kind of steals that duet, like, a lot. But the other singers aren't that much better, and, yeah... There's some scenes that don't make a lot of sense, and it's kind of... Live-action musicals aren't bad, but it can definitely be a little weird at times. Oh, crap. Please tell me I have... Yes, I do. It can definitely be weird at times. Like, at one point, Jasmine just starts singing in, like, this psychotic episode of hers, and it's like, why? It made no sense. It was still perfectly serviceable, but it really did not... It did not hold a candle to the original. I kind of liked it, but it was also... It's one of those weird movies where I didn't hate it while watching it, but it was also pretty cringy on top of that. I mean, Will Smith wasn't bad in it, but he wasn't very good either. It basically was a perfectly adequate Disney film. It was the best thing I could say about it.
And yes, Will Smith used to do rap, and... Bullpups will never be NFA because the determination of NFA is down to two things: barrel length and overall length. Anything over 26 with a 16-inch or greater of barrel is non-NFA.
Jaden Smith. Yeah.
Jaden Smith always has that look of, I screwed up, something is horribly wrong on his face.
And Ruger Standard chambered in 9mm. I don't. Oh, that's direct. The Standard is a direct blowback, so no. But that would be kind of neat if they did something similar.
At which point, just go for the high point heat cannon when it comes out.
See, I'd like to see some sort of inexpensive version of the Luger, but that just can't happen because there's not enough market for that. Oh, I fell in the fucking slope.
The closest thing to availability on a Luger is you have Luger Man, who produces awesome work, but That's not inexpensive. That's a $5,000 pistol.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's like, yeah, he charges for it too.
Well, he hand fits every one of them.
It's like you can still get an original for cheaper than that.
No. Maybe a really beat up used one, but not a war used one. But yeah.
Really, the price went up on those? Well, I guess they would have.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at.
You can get a broom handle Mauser Red 9 cheaper than you can get most Lugers.
Oh, because of all like the World War I stuff that came about. That must be why it went up. 'Cause I remember. This is how you know you're old. Yeah, it was only like 10 years ago.
Yeah, wait till that becomes 20.
Because like I remember 10 years ago that there's a shop in Houston, close to downtown, called Collector's Firearms. They're actually pretty overpriced most of the time. Because I remember back in like the early 2000s, they were getting like $130 for a Mosin, which back then was pretty ridiculous, but that's neither here nor there. And they had some Lugers. And I remember them being like $800, something like that. Which I thought was massively expensive. So they're even more now? That's just not fair. Guess I'm not going to be getting one of those.
That's why Lugerman's work is really, really worth it, because unlike a lot of those, his work.
Yeah, I think it has like a 45 caliber one. I saw a video on that.
Yeah, he's got the 45 ACP test one, which surprisingly shoots really, really well.
It's kind of neat of an idea. It's just like, I don't know. I'd take the 9mm one just because 9mm is so much cheaper than 45. Oh yeah, that reminds me. There's another gun video I'm going to be doing sometime next month. No, not next month, but it'll probably come out a couple months from now. But on a 9mm barrel for the MP40. I can't say a certain word apparently because YouTube doesn't like that. And I got to thinking, like, since it works, why didn't, like, police agencies just buy conversion barrels and magazines? Oh, I said it. Damn it. Just hoping this doesn't get taken down.
Well, the reason they didn't is mainly because without the extractor change, there's technically a little bit too much mass on the slide, which can lead to reliability problems. Not really that massive a reliability problem, but if they choose a specific load and that's what they're approved for, and it has a problem with it, no, they're stuck with it.
I did not think of that. I didn't have any issues with mine. I was just shooting the cheapo stuff.
Well, like I said, there's different requirements for different departments. That, and sometimes departments require a different line item. Like, this is going to be kind of weird. Miami-Dade PD requires almost like U.S. military cage coding. The entire firearm is considered one line item, and the armorer has to, if he's going to order anything for that firearm, he has to get it approved, even if it's just like a firing pin.
Wow. That's bureaucracy for you. I love how I got the Berserk and everything's already dead. That's how angry the Doom guy is. He goes Berserk, but he's already killed him. Die, you bastard! Well, his little 2D shield protected him. Through the power of the sprite, he survives. Let's see. 22R. 22R is not that weak, though. I think like more people die from that than anything else.
Technically in the U.S. it's 38, but 22 has taken plenty of people.
38? Really? That's still popular? After all this time?
There's so many Saturday night specials out there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So, wait. The Taco Monster? The Cookie Monster's Satanist brother? We don't talk about
I think I like Taco Monster better.
We don't talk about Taco Monster. I mean, ever since he like got all of his ears pierced and a few other piercings elsewhere, and you know, painted his hair dark black. Well, yeah, he just hasn't been the same since.
Yeah, but he still endorses tacos.
Yeah, I actually had some just the other day. Of all the foods, it is adequate.
Yeah. True Mexican street tacos are freaking awesome.
There's actually a new type of chip that is flavored after a Mexican street taco. They're not that bad.
Huh.
It's an HEB thing. I mean, they taste kind of... Go on.
The soft tacos, carnitas, absolutely awesome. You get that, you got a good day.
Never really been a big fan of Mexican food, but then again, that's, I guess, because I live in, like, the Tex-Mex capital of the world, so it all is just kind of generic to me at this point.
Yeah. What can I say? Carnitas, stewed pork. It's really good.
I'm gonna have to give that a try. I don't think I've ever had that. For me, I've always been kind of a quesadilla man. Although I don't know if I could really eat those today, just because my stomach does not like really, really greasy or fatty foods anymore. Crab throat! The grenade in this works so much better than Doom 2016. High standard, the Victor... high standard is like really expensive though. They haven't made in like 50 years.
Well, yes and no. The High Standard Company is technically back in business. For 22s, I'm kind of torn. High Standard produced a really, really good pistol, but that being said, we have a lot of really, really good 22 pistols. You can still buy a polymer version of the Whitney Wolverine right now.
Yeah, I've seen those. Oh crap. Those look cool, but that Ruger Standard, though, looks like the Luger, and is like a fraction of the price.
Well, the Ruger Mark III really has become my favorite because it's just so easy to clean as compared to a Mark II.
See, my only problem with the Mark III is it has that little billboard on the side that's the loaded chamber indicator. It just annoys me.
Yeah, I will admit I don't like Ruger and their safety markings, but they gotta do it because lawyers.
It's like, read the manual. It's like, whatever.
Why are 22 rounds that tiny? Simple, because rabbit, squirrel, and other things need to make it to the stew pot.
I think we're actually going to hit the boss soon. Judging by all the ammo and the Mega Health. And I have read the Jedi Academy trilogy, and it's okay.
To answer your question, for the reason that Colt's never updated the 1911 for a double stack, it's because for a long time, legally, they couldn't. Air Ordnance and STI had the patents on the 2011. And now that the patent's open, well, Colt is in no position right now to do much of anything. I mean, their civilian sales right now are relying on one gun, and that's the new version of the Colt Python. Either it's a big hit, from being really well made, or there's flawed models that come out and Colt is doomed. This will be their third bankruptcy, and I don't think anybody's going to save them.
We will have to see about that, because I think they only released it in stainless, not blued.
Well, yeah, they can't do the Colt Royal Blue anymore. They don't have the people on hand to do it.
It's always kind of hilarious to tell people how they polish that, though, because I didn't know this until I read an article online about it. Evidently, they were originally polished with seal skin.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, that...
In the late 90s, they had to switch to chamois. Not the animal chamois, the actual microfiber chamois.
I just find that kind of hilarious, though, with all the environmentalism and things of that nature. It's like, you got guns...
That's the only thing that'll do it.
Well, I didn't know if that was the only thing they had back then. I thought they just got that because like it was like the best thing to use.
No, it's the only thing that would produce high enough luster on the grade of steel they were using. Everything else would leave, telltale signs of pitting. Now, I'll be 100% honest. I do want Colt to be successful with the new Python because I've fired and owned a few custom ones. That being said, the original Python, I'm not going to say, oh, this is a wonderful, super revolver, you need to own it. No, it was, as it came, it was very beautiful. It was top of the line, but the trigger sucked. The trigger was awful.
I actually heard that in a video just yesterday by, What is his name? Ken Hackathorn, I think is his name.
He's shooting straight. He tells no lies. I can confirm exactly what he said. He says the trigger sucks. Guess what? He's not lying.
Crap. I did not pick up the BFG, mainly because I didn't know where it was.
As for Virginia, I've got friends who are attending. I'm hoping they stay safe, everything stays sane, and a little bit more exposure for what Northam's doing is just given out there. Because what he's doing is just plain wrong.
And yet somehow it passed the court system, but whatever.
Well, it didn't pass the Supreme Court. It passed the local courts. There's a difference. This is something that needs to be taken all the way up the chain to the SCOTUS.
Yeah, it likely is. I do know they canned the AR confiscation, which they pretty much had to do that by this point. I mean, when you've got half your state, no, more than half your state saying we're not going to do it, yeah, you might as well not even try.
More than half the state, you got almost every county that isn't a major urban center, i.e. anything that doesn't have a population of over 1 million, saying, no, we're not doing it. It's gotten so bad that West Virginia is basically saying, hey, if you guys want us to secede, you can join our state.
That's just hilarious.
I kind of hope it happens, because legally, there is precedent for it.
And I did not actually download this from any location. I got some links from a fan. So this is like an alpha build, I think. I don't really remember at the moment. So I would just check ModDB. There'll probably be a page there at some point.
Man, right now the only place you're going to get it is via friend linking it to you or the Discord.
This is not the easiest of boss fights, especially since I've got 47 health and all I've got are rockets. Still,
yeah, they gave the Cyber Demon a quick sidestep / dash.
And that hurts a lot.
Tech, how do we do it? The only way we can do it is, there's two ways. Number one is the Supreme Court, which is going to take a lot of time, a lot of money, and honestly, it's going to have to take the gun owners of America, because the NRA is not going to do it.
Yeah, which really sucks, because like the NRA hasn't really stepped in to do anything recently.
No, and they won't. I hate to say it, they're not a lobbying group anymore. They're not anything more than essentially multi-level marketing. They're a pyramid scheme.
It's just kind of sad, really.
Yeah, I know it's sad because I have a lifetime membership and I have to deal with this.
Yeah, that's gotta really rankle. I never got one, and I'm glad I never did. Because, damn.
Okay, worst $1,000 spent of my life.
Damn.
As for the other way, we're gonna have to do what the Democrats do: write up a bill and have the abolishment of the NFA, as well as the Hughes Amendment and 1989 import ban with for sporting purposes clause as a rider. It'll have to be something drastically important, like a defense spending bill, and that's the rider.
Oh crap!
Of course, I'm also of the belief that after that, we need to make all bills singular in purpose, no riders. Once we start getting our rights back, we need to take away the idea of a rider on any bill.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's good. But then again, I'm not going to say that'll never happen. There's no guarantee.
It would take a lot. It's not impossible, but it's really tough.
The Cyber Demon Tyrant guarded this portal. As you step forth into the abyss, you can't help but wonder, why do demons exist in the first place? Make them not exist. Wow, that's definitely id Software. Once again, in hell! Doom Eternal looks like it's going to be pretty good. I gotta say, the game...
Open.
Yeah, they released the soundtrack, and I think Mick Gordon has done a pretty good job.
Generally, he does.
I never even heard of him until Doom 2016. So yeah, it's
Tech. That's not the reason why the 1989 one exists. That the 1989 one exists mainly because the Proto Brady Bunch. And you mentioned gun racism, but actually that's why the Hughes Amendment exists. It's actual racism, not gun racism.
It's always rather interesting to look at all those laws. I mean, context is always very important, and it's always interesting how the media always finds themselves devoid of context, or puts it in the worst possible light.
No, the media doesn't do devoid of context. They twist the context. They've been doing this for the last 60 plus years.
And now CNN is finding, yeah, probably a bad idea.
Well, CNN, even during the first Gulf War, let me rephrase that, the second Gulf engagement, the first Gulf War in 1991, really, they made Baghdad Bob look like an honest car salesman.
Which is not an easy prospect. I wonder if they're going to do that again with, like, Virginia. Nothing is happening here, please move along. It's like there's just giant explosions in the background. It's like, yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, they've been caught several times making, massive protest shots, which are really like 20 people on a certain camera angle.
Yeah, it's always kind of hilarious. Like, yes, there's all these protesters, like, it's a guy. Ooh, can I shoot that? Oh, I can't. I was hoping I could, but oh well.
And they've been caught lying several times in the past year alone.
Welcome to 2020. Oh yeah, speaking of 20...
First.
Speaking of 2020, Star Trek Picard. The verdict's in, and apparently it's not that great. I'm gonna...
No.
Go on?
At least we still have TNG and DS9.
I can't change that unless they like try to Lucas it or something.
That's okay. We'll keep circulating the tapes. We have the Blu-rays. We can do that. May not be entirely kosher, but we can do that.
Yeah, sadly, DS9 doesn't have a remastering, even though it really deserves one.
No, the DVDs are fine.
Crap! Oh, fucking lava! Damn you, id Software, and your use of lava. Although the Quake lava was... the Quake 1 and 2's lava were always really hardcore. It killed you like in like 2 seconds and just turned you into chunks.
And Jason, as much as I like the Metal Gear games, Kojima wasn't prophetic. Kojima was basically taking what was happening at the time and essentially just ramping it up to 11. He was on a scale of 0 to Deus Ex, he's sitting at a 2. Fun games, absolutely great games, but his storylines are not prophecy by any means. The manipulation of data had been happening at that time, by the time of the release of MGS2, for, let's see, it had been happening electronically for about 7 years before he put that to
oh crap,
post.
Again? Yeah, that reminds me of Legacy of the Force. They were so channeling that Second Iraq War in that. Except the Galactic Alliance in that was so much worse than anything America could have considered doing. I mean, mass deportations, which isn't even happening now. Followed by...
actually, we've deported less people than during Obama's era.
So, yeah, I mean... There's that, and it's like, there is no way, even in the, well, that's not really the future, but still, let's just assume it is, even in the future, that you're either A, gonna deport, or B, round up millions of people. I don't really see that happening, just because they might be terrorists. It's like, but then again, that's the Star Wars universe for you. They go hard, or they go home, and then blow up the home, and the planet it's on.
Pretty much. And Jason, essentially 94 is really when the internet really started to take off and become popular.
And I was 5 years old when that happened and had no clue about any of that.
Before that, it sort of existed, but we had no search engines, so you had to know the site. And realistically, you spent most of your time more on BBSs than you did on the internet, because the internet was expensive then.
That's one thing I think not even I knew about, is you just have to pay by the hour, I think. Like CompuServe, it was like $20 an hour or something ridiculous like that. Yeah,
it depended on the service. Like, Prodigy was, oh god, I gotta remember back the prices, what I paid back then.
Back up.
Prodigy was like, you were good if you had a 28.8 baud modem, and if you had a 28.8 baud modem in 94, you were doing great. But you also were paying about like $10 for an hour, so you knew exactly which sites you were going to. You didn't faff around with, oh, I'm going to surf the web. No, it's, you go to the site you need, you get your information, you go.
If you want fapping material, it takes 2 hours to download one image.
A 640 by 480 JPEG, yeah.
I wonder though, did fap material even exist in 94? I would imagine it would.
Yes, it did. It existed on BBSs.
See, now that makes me wonder, like, what was the most popular, performer at that time?
Well, there was no video sharing, so that was something you bought at stores. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into that. As for the 1989 band accords, that's essentially the Brady Bunch enacting their political clout. That's all it was. This is before a mass shooting happened, so it was basically just, oh, we demand, the best case example, even under Reagan, Heckler and Koch were, and that's how you pronounce it, it's Koch, not Koch or Coke, were being headhunted by the Reagan administration, and Sig Sauer, there's a reason we don't have the 551, 550, and 552, and that's strictly because of Reagan headhunting.
Go on.
Hey, HK has been headhunted by name and had their firearms banned from U.S. sales for 3 times by 3 different presidential administrations.
Hey, I got the blue key. Because they're evil and square and boxy. How could they? Alright, so after this level, my voice is starting to go, so we'll call it a day. These levels are actually quite impressive. I'm starting to get some Quake Quake textures finally. My problem is there needs to be a little more ammo, because it's like I'm down to the goddamn blaster.
Yeah, and the downside is if you're playing Quake levels, it gets even worse than the ammo. They got to do some balancing.
It's like this thing is...
Hell Knight replaces the Ogre, and if you've ever played through Quake 1, you know what that's going to mean.
I think in one video I called it the rye bread of Quake. That of course is a reference to snack mixes, where they put like dozens of rye bread chips because it's, I assume, cheap.
It is, but there's one thing you can do with rye bread, and if you're Russian or Gopnik enough, make kvass.
Scusi?
Essentially, imagine a near beer to actually as strong as or stronger than beer drink made with rye bread, dark rye, no caraway seeds, and raisins.
That sounds very interesting. I'm not sure if I would like such a thing. 30-round mag, 30-round mag 9mm carbine bad. Yep.
Uzi 9mm.
I'd still love to have one of those. Even today.
I would prefer, if the mags were prevalent, I'd prefer the 45 version. Yes, there is such a thing. You can actually switch the calibers on an Uzi.
Okay, so that reminds me of something I brought up, like, last year. There's that shitty Monster Hunter book where this guy invents the magical 45 caliber Uzi that is 100% reliable. The Gary Stu in that.
He didn't invent it, but it does sort of exist. It's a pain to fire on full auto because 45 and a blowback is fun times.
Eventually I need to shoot something full auto. Oh, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes, and I am tired, so I will check the chat one more time. Past tense part 2. I think I know what that is. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the one where they lock the poor up into sanctuary... I almost said sanctuary cities, but sanctuary things. I guess I could keep playing while I talk about that. Oh, this is like the last episode of Doom. I can't remember what it's called now. Die Flesh Consumed. E1 of Die Flesh Consumed. I didn't like Die Flesh Consumed, to be perfectly honest. I thought it was more annoying than fun, but yeah, that one where like all the poor people were locked up because that made sense somehow.
Actually, it's called an enclave, and it's actually a plan that some of the how do I put it? Heck, I'll just say it. The more European types, kind of like the ghettoization of certain areas, and a caste system, if you will.
So, yeah. It's more accurate than you would think. Although, I find it funny that there's like some videos on YouTube where they try to say, yeah, a certain presidential personage would do such a thing. It's like, well, not necessarily. Just saying.
It's been tried in India. I mean, it doesn't mean it's right, it doesn't mean it's good, but it's been tried.
And yeah, stuff like that does not... Ignoring the ethical concerns, it still doesn't work.
Oh, politicians plus ethics never mix.
Well, yeah, there is that. And sort of an oxymoron. This is much longer than I thought it was going to be. Now, somebody might have said that. She might have said it. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not going to put words in her mouth, along with anything else. Yes, that was supposed to be funny. God damn it.
Oh, maybe Gumbo or something like that, but that's of her discretion.
Oh my. Let's see. Chinese OICW. That's, of all the things to copy, that would not be something I would recommend.
Well, it's China. Right now, honestly, if it ever breaks out that they go to war with Taiwan, I can't tell you how that war's going to come out, but I can tell you this. The battles, Taiwan's going to kick their rear end hard. Taiwan is far better armed for the individual soldier than China could ever hope to be. The QBZ doesn't hold a candle to the T91.
Oh yeah, I remember that thing. I remember looking at one of those like 3 years ago. Here's hoping that doesn't kick off anything. I read a book to that effect, and yeah, it didn't go well.
If it goes at all, we're going to have to intervene. Maybe not on the books, maybe not officially, but in deniable operations, oh yeah, we're going to have to step in.
The less said about that, the better. Oh crap, I remember this. Okay, that jump animation is hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna kill this guy, then I'm gonna save, and we'll call it a day. I might come back to this, but overall I can definitely tell you. Actually, I'm just gonna not even bother killing him. So yeah, that is Slayer's Testaments. I gotta say, it is an absolutely amazing mod for Quake 1. I mean, this goes to show you that Quake 1 still is alive and well. So yeah, Rain, final thoughts?
As far as good-looking mod and tech, there's a reason we dropped the OICW. It's because it's expensive. We can make it a lot better now, but it's expensive. In China, they're going to go through an economic crisis here very soon.
Yeah, that's not going to be fun. I realize I've just been playing with my hair. I forgot. Oh yeah, people can see me. Don't look at me. It's always kind of funny, like when you do something that you don't even recognize you're doing it. You're just like randomly pulling bits of hair. Yeah, humanity. It's weird. But humanity aside, I am General Lotz.
I'm Rick.
And I can wish you good Slayer's Testament.